lounging, son.
Welcome back to Comic Lounge. My name is Ryan, and I am back talking about another book that dropped this week. A book I was very excited about. I love The Flash, first comic book. I don't know how many times I've probably said that on this channel. Wally West is my favorite superhero character. Favorite character in comic books, hands down. I'll never forget that issue 82 by Mark Waid, Mike Wieringo. I mean, that copy's seen better days. I have two copies. I got the one that I first got, like where I'm even checking stuff off on those, order forms that they had in the back of the issue. I just can't say enough good things. Obviously, like, Barry Allen was at the forefront for a very long time. Wally West wasn't in the comic books for the New 52 when they rebooted. That kind of upset me. Wasn't really a fan of what they did in Heroes in Crisis when they, finally brought him back for Rebirth. As excited I was for him to come back in Rebirth, that equally upset me with how they handled his character. But obviously, like, a lot of stuff has happened in between then. He was the star of the most recent run by Jeremy Adams, which I thought he did a great job. He brought a lot of the Flash family back into the book. Max Mercury, Impulse. It's kind of bittersweet that he was ending the run because I thought he did a great job. But I'm very excited to see what this new run by Si Spurrier and Mike Deodato Jr., who is not an artist I would typically think to do a Flash book, because Flash has always been a very bright book, right? Like, doesn't really have like a dark tone to it. And there was like one arc in the Jeff Johns run where Alberto, I think Dose was the artist on that, and he had kind of like an Eduardo Rizzo style, and that felt very jarring too, because it just doesn't feel like it fit Flash. But I was pleasantly surprised. I think Deodato Jr. did a great job. I love the beginning of this run. I think it was fantastic. I picked up the Dan Mora variant because, I mean, why not? I have both covers. I have the A cover too, but this is the cover I'm using for the episode. Off to a great start. You already got the Flash family. Max Mercury is a character created by Mark Waid. Impulse, again, another Mark Waid creation. So this stuff is like deep rooted into my love of the Flash mythology, and the Speed Force and stuff like that was all during that Wally West Mark Waid run. So it even it talks about, we got Max Mercury narrating, talking about how many different hero names he's had. First got his powers, I believe, I want to say 1800s, but he kept jumping through time. That's, story for another day. I'll go through that when I talk about the Mark Waid run, which is definitely on my list of stuff I want to talk about on the channel. But, it even talks about, Whip Whirlwind. Then he was Quicksilver. Each time he jumped in time, each new self marking a transcendence toward higher mysteries. These days he's Max Mercury. He's always felt it better to be swift of spirit than fleet of foot. And he has always known when it is time to seek a new name. Yet this will be a beginning like no other, which is weird because, like, now Bart's with him and they're both going to make the jump. So again, very interesting from the very first page. And I like this line, "We breathe the lightning." So awesome. So he said, "We do not break the barrier, we embrace it. We breathe the lightning, we rise." And as they're about to make that jump, Max gets this weird vision. Obviously, it looks like it's set in the past. We have this buffalo with red eyes. We have these like kind of like Western early 1800s type looking guys standing right there. And I love this effect too. The way this lettering has it's a sound effect, and they're about to go through this tunnel and they get bounced back. The dialogue is great too, like for Bart Allen, dude. Like, so does transcending time and space always feel like headbutting a planet? And so something has gone wrong. He doesn't understand what, and this is obviously going to lead to a mystery moving forward. There's, something's wrong with the Speed Force. So, now we get Wally running through. And again, like, it's the coloring, I think, really, maybe it's the coloring that sometimes Deodato Jr. has. The colors he's paired with, very dark, a lot of blacks, but this is very bright. This is a different Deodato Jr. than I've seen in a while, and I am digging this stuff. I love the way he depicts Flash running. I like how each artist kind of puts their own spin, but as he's running, he talks about, this is what I do. This is what I love to do. It's not supposed to hurt. And he's going after these, the gorillas that are controlled by Grodd, and he keeps mentioning that it hurts. So again, what's going on? Why is he being affected in this way? He's just a touch slower, even though he's supposed to be the fastest human being alive. And during it all, we get this like weird indigo speed character. We don't find out who it is. We see like the zigzagging, smashing against, and he says like, I don't know what the heck that is, but it's clumsy as hell. So it's obviously somebody with new powers. We're not sure who that is. Flash is carrying this person that he saved, but then drops her. So his powers are acting wonky. Grodd comes in, and then this is what's also interesting is he says, my condolences, I have heard the news. Breaking up is the purest pain of all. And Wally's like, well, what's that supposed to mean? So he's getting questioned by all these people in the street. And, again, he's a family man. I like how they call it out because they think, like, when Grodd said that, does that mean you're single? No. So he goes. What a great opening credits. I love this design. This, I'm kind of curious. Like, who came up with this? Very interesting choice. I love this new Flash logo, too, where Flash's silhouette is part of the A. Really awesome. Trish Mulvihill. Absolutely great colors. I love the pairing. This is a book that is definitely something to be excited about. I mean, he was comparing it a little bit to like Alan Moore taking over Swamp Thing and, that whole first arc that he did. So it'll be interesting to see what this first arc is and where the comparisons he got. Like, is it just like the complete like different viewpoint of what Swamp Thing was, and this is going to be the complete different viewpoint of what we think of when we think of Flash? I don't know. But now we get back to the West family household. See Linda over here dealing with her superpowered kids. We got Irie, his daughter, Jay, his son. They're twins, and he also has a new son, which I love the fact that they named him Wade. Nice little callback to Mark Wade. I thought that was pretty cool. And we get a little bit of narration from Linda, and she. For a minute, she had some powers when she was pregnant, but those are gone. And, living in a household full of speedsters, it's like she's experiencing life different than them. And I like how they, depict that where like all these speed, lightning, the lines are zigzagging around her and she's just like kind of frozen in time. I thought that was pretty cool to look at. And, she's wanting to do something more. She doesn't want to just be at home. She's, she used to be a reporter. She talks about how she wrote 5 books while she was pregnant. I thought this little bit of inner dialogue too from her. As always, it is not until the house is perfectly silent that the pipe begins to play. And I wondered, like, what is that referring to, right? Now we jump back again. Like, this is established in the previous run. Wally West is working at Terrifictech, which is, Michael Holt, aka Mr. Terrific, has given him a job there. We see that he's in some lab with some guy, and we don't know who it is, but they've been spying on Wally, and they see that something's wrong with the Speed Force, and even that guy says the poor sap doesn't know what's coming. So again, just building this mystery of like, okay, so now even Mr. Terrific is in on, like, he knows something's wrong too, but we don't know exactly what it is. Wally comes in the room, and the engineers are looking at something, mapping n-dimensional structures. A lot of science in here, which I think it should always kind of be in a Flash comic. Again, Wally has mentioned a lot of this too, is it's science. But then Max is on the flip side, like, he comes at it from a more spiritual sense instead of science. So you got this like kind of like two opposing things when you're thinking about the Speed Force. So I thought it's interesting to have like this really heavy science aspect that we were getting already so far into this issue. And Mr. Terrific is talking to him about what happened, like how these guys that had gotten taken in these bubbles and thrown up in the sky, it's like your basic spooky Speed Force stuff. Like, I just have this feeling. Then we go back to the incursion from the guerrillas. They were fighting Jay Garrick, aka the First Flash. Jesse is in here too, Jesse Quick. And then he even asked him, have you noticed any fluctuations in the Speed Force? And then we flash into here, and the Uncoiled are coming, and we see like what's going on here. He's like, no fluctuations, and he doesn't want to tell Michael about this weird thing that happened to him a month before, because he doesn't know, like, are they hallucinations? What is going on? And he does have a little bit of fear. And then this little line where he's like, keep me updated, Wally. There's no room for imperfection whatever's coming will need a Flash. And he calls it out that he's like, a Flash. You notice that? Not the Flash. And so this is obviously going to be something that's going to be building what's going on with the Speed Force. Michael knows something's wrong. This other guy that's helping him, who's he? What kind of like relationship does he have with Wally? Is this a past character, a new character? Who knows? But I'm definitely excited to see what's coming from that. We get Irie in school with Maxine, aka Animal Girl, Animal Man's daughter. So she was also part of the last run. Very interesting to have that relationship, like how these two are friends, and kind of a nice little nod to a future generation of heroes. And then she goes looking for her brother, and he's in this boiler room. And again, like, what the hell is going on? Who is this little person that's sitting there as they leave? Another battle between Wally and Gorilla Grodd's forces, and we get this mysterious dude that was like a speedster with with that indigo streak in the beginning of the book. You can see he's catching on fire because that's what happens when the friction of the Speed Force. And I think it even happened. Yeah, and it happened to Wally earlier in the book when his powers were starting to go on the fritz. Something weird's happening. This dude is getting like sucked in. You see he's getting like, looks like he's getting like turned inside out, stretched. You have no idea what's going on, and we get this like weird creature at the end. I mean, like humanoid, but like spikes coming off of him. Crazy cliffhanger, but my God, what an interesting start to this Flash run. Nothing like what I expected. I was very careful not to read too much into this run because I didn't want anything to be spoiled, and I can't say enough good things. This is kind of like with the Wonder Woman by Tom King, where like we're getting a new, fresh take, something different, something we haven't really seen before. Just I'm just excited for this as I was for the Wonder Woman. Probably a little bit more so because, like I said, I love Wally West, my favorite character. So if you're on the fence, you haven't been picking up Flash in a while, haven't picked up a Flash book before, this is a great jumping on point. I highly recommend it. Go pick it up. Hit up your local comic shop. A lot of dope variant covers for this one as well. And make sure you like, follow, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid drops. And on that note, I'm out.